Some endings arrive with fire, some with screams, and some with silence. Willow Creek did not fall in a single moment. It fell in layers. Memory first, identity second, sound last. The breach at Willow Creek had already begun. The Maras had multiplied. The forest had entered the streets. The creek had filled with reflections that were not reflections. But episode 10 is not about the breach. It is about the quiet that followed. The first sign came at 6:14 a.m. A man named Thomas Avery stepped outside to get his newspaper and realized he couldn't hear anything. No birds, no cars, no wind, no insects. Just a thick, heavy stillness that pressed against his ears like cotton. He clapped his hands. No sound. He shouted. No sound. He slammed the door. No sound. The world had gone mute. Thomas panicked, ran to his neighbor's house, banged on the door. His neighbor opened it, mouth moving, face contorted, silent. Thomas tried to speak. His neighbor shook his head, pointed to his own ears, then to the sky. Thomas looked up. The clouds were still, too still, as if frozen. The second sign came from the sheriff. He woke to the same silence. He tried his radio. Static. He tried his phone. Dead. He tried his voice. Nothing. He stepped outside. The air felt thick, heavy, dense, like the atmosphere had been replaced with something that wasn't air. He walked down the street. People were standing outside their homes, confused, panicked, mouthing words that made no sound. Then the sheriff saw something worse. A woman standing in the middle of the road, barefoot, clothes torn, hair matted. Mara, but not one Mara. Dozens, all identical, all silent, all staring. The sheriff raised his hand, tried to shout, tried to warn people, but no sound came out. The Mara stepped forward, not walking, gliding, as if the ground was moving beneath them. The sheriff backed away, heart pounding, breath shallow. The Mara stopped, all at once, perfectly synchronized. Then they opened their mouths, not to speak, to inhale. A long, slow, collective breath that pulled the air inward like a vacuum. The sheriff felt his lungs tighten, his vision blur, his knees weaken. The Maras exhaled, a single word. Soft, layered, silent, but he heard it anyway. Below. The third sign came from the school. The children were standing in rows again, perfect rows, facing the windows, eyes unfocused, mouths slightly open. The teachers tried to move them, tried to shake them, tried to scream. Nothing worked. The children lifted their hands, all at once, pointing toward the creek. Then they began to walk. Slow, steady, silent. The teachers followed, crying, begging, mouthing words that made no sound. The children walked to the creek, stopped at the edge, stared into the water. The sheriff arrived moments later. He pushed through the crowd, grabbed one of the children, turned him around. The child's eyes were wrong, not blank, not empty, reflective, like water. The sheriff stumbled back, fell to his knees, covered his mouth, because the child's reflection wasn't the child. It was Mara. The fourth sign came from the sky. The clouds shifted, not naturally, not with wind. They folded, compressed, lowered, as if the sky itself was bending toward the town. The sheriff looked up, his breath caught. The clouds were forming a shape, a ring, a circle, a mouth. The same shape as the well, the same shape as the footprints, The same shape as the flattened grass. The same shape as the breach. The sky was becoming the well. The fifth sign came from the ground. The earth trembled. Not violently. Not destructively. Softly. Rhythmically. Like a heartbeat. The sheriff felt it in his teeth, in his bones, in his skull. The ground pulsed. Then it cracked. A thin line. A hairline fracture. Running through the center of town. The sheriff stepped back, watched as the crack widened. Not downward. Outward. Like something beneath the town was pushing up. The Morris turned toward the crack. All at once, perfectly synchronized. They stepped forward, kneeling at the edge, hands pressed to the ground. Listening. The sheriff whispered a word he could not hear. Mara. One of the Maras turned, tilted her head, smiled. Then she spoke, not with sound, with vibration, a resonance that traveled through the ground and into his bones. We're here. The sheriff stumbled back, fell, crawled away. The Morris stood, stepped aside. Something rose from the crack. Not a person, not a creature, not a shape. A shadow, tall, thin, wrong. A silhouette with no edges, no features, no face. A void wearing the outline of a human. The sheriff tried to scream. No sound came out. The shadow stepped forward. The Morris bowed. The shadow lifted its head, looked at the town. Then it spoke. Not with a voice, with every voice. A chorus of whispers layered into one. You forgot us. The sheriff collapsed, his vision dimming, his breath fading. The shadow stepped closer. You will remember. The town went silent. Not quiet. Silent. A silence so complete it erased thought, erased memory, erased identity. When the sun rose the next morning, Willow Creek was empty. Not destroyed, not burned, not abandoned. Empty. Houses intact. Cars parked. Lights on. But no people. Just footprints, circles, handprints, and the faint smell of wet stone. Black Hollow had taken the town, not violently, not loudly, quietly, completely. And somewhere in the silence, a single whisper remained. A whisper that did not belong to the Hollow. A whisper that sounded human. A whisper that sounded like Mara. Help me.